this is Arun PT, your psychology teacher. You might have heard this term shadow work in popular literature. Basically a tool of personality development. Let's try to understand what it actually means. Originally, the idea of shadow work comes from the concept called shadow self, given by Carl Jung. What he meant by shadow self is the darker side of yourself, which is unconscious. Basically, the conscious part of you refuses to accept a darker side of you, which remains in the unconscious. You might understand the Freudian concept of unconscious, something that is not accessible to you consciously at all. Carl Jung went further and said that unconscious is not only present at the individual level, but it is also present at the collective level. This kind of collective unconscious is responsible, the collective shadow is responsible for hate crime, prejudice, bigotry, and discrimination. It is something like having two sides to ourselves, like the Jekyll and Hyde, but you should not literally think that the darker side, the shadow side, is a bad side of you. It's basically a side of you that you are somehow embarrassed about as a result of past experiences. So we need to understand that inherently shadow is not bad or good. What does it contain? It consists of repressed fears, secret desires, temptations, guilt, shame, and any kind of trauma that you might have experienced in the early life. So past experience, rigid parenting, and traumatic experiences can result in formation of shadow. So shadow becomes like a kind of blind spot, which is not accessible to us. And it can continue to influence your behavior, your thoughts, your emotions in maladaptive ways. So if you have to be healthy, you need to do shadow work. The repressed self has to be first accepted, acknowledged. Then you should integrate it into the conscious self so that we have a holistic personality without the division of conscious and unconscious. Basically, it is about loving yourself and being compassionate towards yourself. How do we do this shadow work? So there are different ways. Either you could take the help of a psychotherapist or you could do it yourself. Psychoanalysis is usually done by a psychotherapist. They use a technique called free association where they encourage you to speak your mind, whatever comes to your mind without any inhibitions continuously. That will give you a lot of clues about what shadows you are holding. Shadow journaling is something that you could do yourself. You just write down your deepest fears, temptations without any inhibitions and keep a record of these things. And looking at it after some time will give you an idea what is a repressed self. Mirror technique is when you try to interact with others, you try to observe yourself. What kind of emotions go through your head? How do you judge them? What kind of emotions get triggered in you in your interpersonal interactions? Because the society, the other people act like a mirror to yourself. Then you have to identify triggers for strong emotions. Sometimes we may lose control, we may get very agitated, and we need to understand what triggers these things. That could be clues for the shadow work. Apart from this, you could do mindfulness meditation. You could do any kind of meditation that calms your mind, probably that helps in integrating these unconscious and conscious. Finally, art therapy is a technique where you express yourself through art, through painting, through music, whatever. And these kind of things can also unconsciously end up doing this work of integrating yourself, which is divided into conscious and unconscious. Now it will be making them holistic. So that is the concept, and you could use this concept in Unit 11 Personality, Paper 1, and Unit 3 in Psychological Therapies in Paper 2. You could catch me on the Telegram channel, the Psychology Teacher 1. The admissions are going on in Kingmakers Academy for this year Civil Service Psychology Optional Batch. The admission is going to be closed soon. So hope you join us, and of course I believe the association between us is going to be mutually beneficial. Thanks a lot.